wait just a few minutes for folks to join if they're having technical difficulties or stuck in traffic or God knows what. But we're going to chat for just a bit and pass the time while we wait. We'll try to get started right around 2:05. We are very excited to have y'all here with us today. We would very much appreciate it if y'all would drop in the chat saying howdy, where you're from. If you know which SD you're from, which precinct you're from. I like to hear the numbers. I'm a bit of a map nerd right here, so I like to see who's joining us and from where and from when, and I hope others do too. So we would very much appreciate y'all doing so. I'm in Baytown. I'm in SD4 and precinct 0103. For those of you who have just finished working the election, we very much appreciate your service. I know that the slower, somewhat lower turnout elections can be a little challenging in their own right. And I'm sure most of the folks at Harris Votes and across Harris County appreciate your service to your community. It is an honorable thing to do, and we appreciate you. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. We'll go over the agenda for the day. We have a pretty good topic chosen for our primary discussion, and hope that y'all enjoy and are motivated to act on it, because we are here to share experiences and stories and learnings, but ultimately action speaks louder than words always. So we hope that you will be joining us in volunteer activities in the coming weeks. And it's going to be, it feels like it's a ways off, but it's going to be here in the blink of an eye. The primary season is upon us. So I hope y'all are finding local folks to support, finding folks that you're going to be making calls for, knocking doors for, whatever your preferred method is. If you want to write postcards, send postcards, whichever activities you can engage in. Like I said, actions speak louder than words always. Looks like we are at 2:03, so we're going to give it another 120 seconds or so to get started. We are very glad to have everyone here today. We do have an awesome program for you. And I got to say, Prince, I love the, what do you call it? The I'm away screen, the SD right there in front. That's an awesome thing. I like that. Judge Davis's away screen. Love to see the folks representing their part of town.
Hello. Hi, I'm going to pop out on you guys in a minute because I'm in Los Angeles and I just got here at my cousin's wedding, but I've been popping in to catch you because, you know, I love you guys to death. And so, yes. So I did want to come on, send hugs and kisses, and then I am going to sign off for her wedding. So, but hello, our revolution. Hello. Okay, I'm going to sign off. Tell everyone I said hi.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge Davis.
Okay, bye-bye.
Always glad to have the electeds here with us. Just a few more minutes. And a reminder, while it's on the top of my head, filing season is opening very quickly. So if you are dissatisfied with the folks that are representing you, replace them, run against them, be the change you want to see in the world.
Before we start, I wanted to make a quick comment on Lauren Lively's post. If y'all didn't see in the chat, she's basically stating, hey, you know, especially with these last elections, it seems like there's a shift more to the right. And what can we do to prevent this, or to try to bring more progressive values to not only local communities, but also across the country? I was reading an interesting article about this. And this is one of the best ways is to get active with your community. Show the effects of progressive policies instead of just talking about them. How can we be better with?
But where?
It could be anywhere. Think about the areas.
It's scary here. It's scary here in Houston, Texas. Outside of Houston, Texas, you have a bumper sticker, you have a flag, you know, you're getting a finger. We're getting stink eyes walking into a restaurant or a store with a mask on, and we're afraid. I mean, I've been talking to people, you know, on Lunch Club and all sorts of places, and the right people that need to speak out are afraid to. And I feel like while we're having these powwows, it could be so uplifting, but the folks that are in a state like Texas, where we really never have a hope of it turning anything but red, it's a stronghold right now. And what can we do to help people in other locations, but what can we do to help ourselves? And I don't know if what you're suggesting is honestly realistic here, because it's very aggressive and intimidating and scary. And I'm just trying to be honest, because I really want to help and I want to do something. But whenever I've tried, I've gotten the forcible hand of oppression. I got fired from my last job from posting too much political stuff. I've had people, you know, camp out in front of my house when I had pro-Biden signs. I have a Black Lives Matter sign that I know irritates people. I had to remove bumper stickers from my car because I got followed home. And I know that's nothing compared to what others face, like poll workers and people actually running for office. But it's enough to silence me and to scare me into just being quiet and wanting to shrink back and wait for things to get better. And I know that's what they want. And I know that's not the right thing. So I hope it's okay for me to share this bluntly with you, because I really do want to know what to do. And I want to be the change I want to see in the world, but I don't want to lose my job. And I don't want to lose my ability to be safe in my community either. And that is unfortunately a potential repercussion for speaking up and being too vocal about my beliefs and my support for the Democrats, for Democratic candidates, especially being in Houston or around Houston, Texas.
Yeah,
So actually, I want to speak to this if I can, because it's a very valid concern. It's what we're facing, and it's not just so let me take a step back. I don't know if you even know who I am, but I'm a Democrat who decided, and a progressive who decided to step up and run for office, right? And that was in 2018. And I have seen exactly what you're talking about become really, really more fierce and more scary and more of a problem in this last couple of years. You're absolutely right. And they're out to physically intimidate, to emotionally intimidate. But I do want to say that it's not just in Harris County. We're not the only, you know, like they want to say we're the blueberry in the bowl of tomato soup. It's not that way. This state is just barely red, and those people are certainly very animated, and they have been winning majorities in elections. But all of our major metropolitan areas are very blue and turning bluer. And so what I would say is we need to look out for each other. There's strength in numbers. I would not ever suggest that someone do stuff that gets in trouble at work. It's something I have now. I'm an out front, out and proud, loud and unapologetic Democrat, and I work in the oil and gas industry. And so ever since I ran for office, right, I chose to take a break from oil and gas. So I wouldn't be tied to that while I'm, you know, legislating.
There's definitely a connection between
right?
oil and gas.
There could be a conflict of interest there, or it could seem that way.
Yes.
So, but even if I'm going to do some consulting or something else, I mean, I kind of feel you, because I'm careful about who I engage with and who I offer to work for, what kind of work I'm going to do. But it's not just that. You're absolutely right. I was like, So Jeremy was talking earlier, you know, kind of joked that I'm overdressed, but literally I came from a funeral, and this is a funeral for a friend of my mother's husband. So it's not somebody personally very close to me, but But I was accosted by, we're out in Humble, we're in that Atascocita Humble area, and I'm being accosted by a Republican who's giving me shit because I broke quorum and went to Washington, DC. And I'm like, sir, I wish to be respectful, but this, and I'm happy to have political debate with you, but not here at this funeral.
That's a low blow, but I support you, and I'm so glad you did what you did. We just had a wave of elections, New Jersey,
Right.
Virginia's now red. And when I say that, what I mean is the GOP-led legislatures of these red states are doing everything they can to make it harder for Democrats to elect Democrats. And when we talk about how Harris County is very blue, and I'm extremely supportive of Mayor Turner and Lena Hidalgo, they've done amazing things, but they're getting squeezed by the freaking governor. And the governor is interjecting himself into local communities and kind of what we're talking about, the oppression. I feel like we're dealing with some very aggressive people that are doing everything they can to attack
You're right. And
that's democratic.
And this is actually a sorry to cut you off, but you're exactly right. And it's their intention politically to fire up their base emotionally. They are riding this wave, and we just saw it. So I'm in the Cy-Fair area. I'm right off of 290 1960. And this was one of the things I wanted to talk about. So I hope we're not off topic here. But we just had the school board election, and the crazy pants people took all three seats away, and we had one Democrat and two Republicans in this ostensibly nonpartisan race. But the sitting board members, although that I may or may not have agreed or disagreed with them on different things at different times, none of them were batshit crazy. But the three people that just got elected out here were, and it's because you've got that far right wing base very fired up. And I think I want you to be comforted that they are really a smaller group than you think they are, but they're so loud and so upfront and so present and so vocal that it seems like it's all around us, right? And it certainly seemed that way to me in Cy-Fair. But I promise that the majority of people in our area, in Houston and in all of our major metropolitan areas, are more like us. And so I think one of the things that we need to discuss, dwell in, and figure out is not just how to go beyond addressing the right-wing messaging, which classically is better. Republicans are classically better than that because they have their chiseled message, whether it's a complete lie or not. They're very strong on their messaging. And so we have to not only do that, we have to devise and strategize and execute a plan to have our base energized and show up and vote, because voting is the way to turn this around. It all starts at the ballot box, and that was one of the topics.
Yes,
I think that we were going to
agree.
talk about
And
today.
a unified plan. But if you don't mind me saying so, I feel like one of the things that the Democrats have done historically is take the high road, and we really have to be loud. They have to shout back. We may have a lot stronger arguments behind us, but if they're not as loud and aggressive and they don't meet at least the same level, we're not going to get anywhere, because we're going to be continually overshadowed by the crazies and the people who are louder and more aggressive.
We should probably pull this back to the agenda, maybe.
Okay. I think this is a valuable discussion, but yeah, let's have the meeting we're supposed to have.
Hey,
And
John,
I do
John,
want to thank
do you have
you for
anything
the
to-
engagement, though.
John, do you have anything to say about the new district, the 38th district, which I think goes around Beltway 8 up toward Tomball? Do you have any forecast, or, what do you think about that? The new
Texas
district?
Congressional District 38?
Yeah.
Does it sweep around like that? I thought it was a big blob, and I'm right kind of in the middle of it. So
yeah, I think it may go through your area.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a
And
law.
so I've been you know.
That's what
I've
John's
been
here to
represented
talk
by-
about today, guys.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
Go ahead and get into the
Mr.
program.
Well, I
Mr.
thought the
Jennings,
program
Mr.
had already
Rosenthal.
started. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought
No,
we were in
it's fine.
Q&A.
We had a very surprise conversation at the beginning. I think that gave us the right sense of mood to realizing the urgencies that we're seeing here, that we do have problems that we need to fix. Mr. Jennings, we're going to talk about redistricting today. Let's just go ahead and get started with our meeting, and then we want to respect everyone's time as well. So let's go ahead and begin. Just so everyone knows, I put a copy of the slide deck in the chat, so you should be able to have see all the links as well. Chuck, would you like to go ahead and take over?
Absolutely. Welcome everyone to the formal beginning of the November meeting of Our Revolution Harris County. Reminder that we have the 4 members of the steering committee, myself, Chuck Cruz, John Floyd, who is not with us today due to some personal issues. We expect to see him back in December, hopefully. Latanya Whittington is here with us on the call. And of course, everyone is familiar with the stellar Jeremy Scheid. We will start off with a reminder of our mission statement. Our Revolution Harris County is working in the furtherance of economic, political, social, racial, and environmental justice through education, direct action, and political engagement. We are our Revolution. Treasurer's report.
Scott, can you go ahead and take over this?
Yep, just gonna get myself off mute. So we only had a little bit of activity in the last month. Part of that, I think, is we just had a quiet month, and part of it was there was a little glitch in CrowdPack. They haven't completely worked out for us yet. So a couple of our monthly donations were not completed. So they're trying to get that fixed and let me know if we have to go back out and ask people to restart those or if it'll just happen automatically. But we did have donations from myself, from Judy Kraft, from Glenna Dawson. We now have $624 approximately in the bank. So that's just a little bit more than last month. And that QR code that you see on the screen there will take you to our donate button. We do need money to support the chapter. We have a variety of expenses from time to time. We may start donating to candidates eventually. So anything you can do is very appreciated. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Okay.
So we also want to remind people, become a member for Our Revolution. Donating to our local chapter also helps, but it also helps when you donate to our parent chapter or our national or our Texas. If you want to become a member or find ways to get involved, you can use the QR code or use the link, which will be posted in the chat in a moment. In fact, it already is. Thank you very much, Clayton. And also in the chat, there is a link on how you can donate to our local chapter. Today's agenda, as y'all may already be aware, Jon Rosenthal is here. He's going to be speaking on redistricting. We'll also talk about upcoming leadership elections here in Harris County. And we will also give our election results of our endorsed candidates, Elizabeth Santos and Dr. Maria Benson. We'll end off the meeting with our candidates corner and minute members minute, where everyone will have a chance to share about either your local, your campaign or any current issues that are going on in Harris County. And we'll also let you know of upcoming meetings and events and how you can get more involved locally. Before we go into our special guests, I just wanted to know that next month in December, we will be revealing all of our candidates who are interested in becoming part of the Harris County Our Revolution Steering Committee. Now, the steering committee is the executive committee of the chapter. We're the ones that organize these meetings, organize events, set up GOTV events for our endorsed candidates, go through the endorsement process to see who we will endorse. we basically do everything that we can to make this chapter successful. And now is an opportunity for you to join as well. We do have one open position that needs to be filled, and we also have 2 other positions that are up for re-election. We just want to say, don't feel bad about trying to kick any of us off the board. We feel that it's always healthy to have fresh blood, to have new ideas. We love being with Our Revolution, and we always want people to help out in any way that they can. And this is a fantastic way for you to get more involved, not only with Our Revolution, but also with your local elections in your community as well. So please use the QR code to fill out the Google form. If you are interested in applying, we will hold the elections next month in December, and our new electees will take their term of office when we have our first meeting in January. We'll also put this link in the chat. So if you do have trouble using the QR code, you can just go ahead and click on that link and fill out the Google form. I don't know if any of our other steering committee members want to share their thoughts on the importance of having people, volunteer their time and help their local chapter.
Wow. Done.
I'd be happy to say that I came into this with limited experience as an organizer, and this has been very educational. I appreciate a lot of the support that I've had from the existing steering committee members, and I feel that I've grown immensely into this position, and I am hoping that I can encourage others to join me in this growth opportunity for both yourselves and for Our Revolution, Harris County, and Texas.
Remember, change begins from the bottom up, and the best way we can make big change is by affecting our local neighborhoods and our communities.
I can also say, hello, everyone. It's been a wonderful experience being on the steering committee. It's been plenty of opportunities that has come my way, especially with my fight for legalization and decriminalization of cannabis in Texas. The Our Revolution Texas has supported me immensely as following me as I went to Austin, also putting me in the newsletter report, so you get a lot of recognition, especially if you have a goal or something that you're really fighting for that you believe in. So I would definitely consider becoming a member and bringing more ideas to the table, because growth is always a beautiful thing.
And also, just so you know, if you are inexperienced and you're thinking this might be a little worrisome on the workload, we are super supportive. We will help you in any way that you can if you want to help out, because we're never going to turn anyone away who wants to try to make progressive policies a reality. Well, now let's get to our main event. We're here because of our special guest, Jon Rosenthal, who's not only our special guest, but also one of our endorsed candidates. We had the pleasure of endorsing Jon Rosenthal back in the 2018 election, which was his first time running. And not only did he win, but he shook Texas. He was not only one of the most progressive candidates in the state legislature, but we have constantly seen him push for progressive policies and fighting for what is right, for not only locally in his own district, but also across the state. And we want to welcome Jon Rosenthal. So welcome, Jon Rosenthal.
Thank you so much. And it seems like we're having a very appropriate conversation today already. It was a little lively in the preamble for this, but I'm not even sure where to start. So for those that don't know me, I'm Jon Rosenthal. I'm the guy that has worked an entire lifetime as a mechanical engineer in the oil and gas industry, and then left industry to run for office, and defeated a 24-year or 26-year incumbent. So one of the very most senior and one of the very most conservatives in the Texas House got beat by a grassroots organizing effort. So I think that's the first thing that we should take heart in, is that that dude outspent me 3 to 1. He spent $350,000 to our 60 and he was beaten by a grassroots effort, folks knocking on doors. So no matter how they try to disadvantage us, it's all about our willingness to take charge. So we're and be active and engage our communities. And there's, you know, what I say, I got this from somebody else, but I always say it, and that is, there ain't no power like the power of the people, and the power of the people don't stop. So the only time we actually really lose is when we give up, right? All right, so we're actually here to talk about redistricting. And for the state overall, really difficult situation. The state maps are, I wish I could say I was disappointed or shocked. I think we could have expected this. This is what I talked about during the campaign, was that if we didn't flip seats, if we didn't take over the House, Republicans were going to do whatever they wanted in redistricting, and it turns out that's what they did. The congressional maps are particularly egregious for the state of Texas. The population, and you probably know this, forgive me if I'm beating a dead horse, but the state of Texas grew in population dramatically in the last 10 years, as shown by, you know, a very flawed census, and still shows that we grew something like over 4 million people, enough growth that we get 2 new congressional seats, and those come from other areas of the country. So as population moves around, you know, they awarded these congressional seats, and we were thinking that it was going to be 3, possibly 4, but we've got 2 new congressional seats. The population growth in Texas, almost exclusively people of color. So all Latino and Black and AAPI, 96% of the growth in Texas to drive the necessity for these 2 seats, driven by people of color here. And the 2 new seats were drawn to be majority white. And then not only that, we're going to lose, I believe they've drawn to lose a coalition district, a majority minority district has been reduced. So not only did people of color drive the population growth that should have generated 2 new seats, hopefully, you know, you would think if the drawing of the maps reflected the actual population, those 2 seats would be minority opportunity. And we call that minority opportunity, just means that minorities have the opportunity to elect the candidate of their choice by either being a flat out majority, like a Latino opportunity district would be at least 50 plus 1% Latino, Latinx, Hispanic, or coalition, minority opportunity coalition district, where white people make up a minority of the district. So that it's particularly egregious to see how they did that. And multiple lawsuits are already working on that. It's blatant violation of the Voting Rights Act, even in its gutted condition. And so that's on the congressional side. And of course, I currently live in Congressional District 7, and we're going to talk about how my district changes too. But the new district, Congressional District 38, has been drawn to overlay on my area. And while Congressional 7 in its current form was a minority majority coalition district, won by a centrist Democrat, you know, who I thought would be reelected again. This new district that I live in now is going to be majority white. And it's very, very disappointing. So the congressional maps are egregious. The Texas State Senate maps also particularly egregious. And in these, when they draw these maps where the districts are very large, it gives them an opportunity to gerrymander in a very special way. You know, we talk about tracking and packing and all that stuff, but when you've got large populations to work with, it allows you to use large swaths of rural and conservative, you know, politically conservative areas, and then connect a small slice of one of your major metropolitan areas. So perfect examples of this, of course, are Harris County, Travis County, maybe even worse. Everyone, you know, hopefully knows Austin and the surrounding area is very liberal, And so much so that on their entire city council, there's only one person, I believe, who identifies as a Republican. And yet, with 5 congressional members, none of them, are really Democrats. So what they take these large, rural areas, and they connect it to a little slice of the city. And if you look in Travis County, actually Harris County does quite a bit of that too. So they've done that for Senate District 10, which is the one that was flipped by Beverly Powell, who's a moderate, I call her a moderate Democrat. She has some very progressive platforms and is just generally a good human. And they have really sliced and diced that district to cut her out, not to cut her out personally, but to make it more competitive for Republican. This is the same part of the Dallas area that apparently in the previous redistricting cycle, they did a very similar thing. So they had a Republican in there before, and after Beverly won in the same election I did in 2018, they've apparently been dreaming of cutting that up so that she will lose her seat. So there's that, and the El Paso area, in the Valley area, all that stuff is very messed up, and Republicans really took advantage of the situation for the Senate districts. Now, the Texas House district is redistricting is another exercise. I don't know if you know this. I chaired our Harris County delegation to the Texas House this time. It's kind of a volunteer job. It's not really I can't do anything but call a meeting, but I did participate in the redistricting. And the question that folks ask me about Harris County is, are we going to lose any seats in Harris County? Is the balance going to change? I believe we have 24 seats altogether, and that's 15 Democrats and 9 Republicans. And the way that this was drawn, the way the Republicans drew Harris County was to solidify all the incumbents. So it violates my personal sensibility to say that to have the courts confirm that it's legal, it's okay to draw a map for the purpose of preserving incumbency. To me, that is the opposite of what this whole exercise should be. If you're drawing a map to benefit the politicians instead of the constituents, instead of the population, you have inherently got this whole democratic thing backwards, right? These maps are supposed to be drawn to collect communities of common interest, and that's, legal phrasing for people that have stuff in common in geographic areas. So you want to collect them in fat, blobby bunches if you can, and have them, like in Cy-Fair. You should be able to elect a representative that is only Cy-Fair school district, which was one of my things. I was the only representative wholly dedicated to a single school district for Cy-Fair. And that is going to change on this redrawing, but you would think the Cy-Fair school district is a community of common interest, and it has dominated the political, the economic, and the socioeconomic, and even in some aspects, the civic landscape of the area where I live in. So if we're dominated by public education, and I won election running on a public education platform, then why don't we have all these people collected into the smallest number of districts possible so that they can basically have the largest number of folks who represent their interests? If you've got a school district with 117,000 students, and I don't know how many residents exactly, but that's a big chunk of folks, and they should have political power to match their numbers and their interests, their community of interest, and that's being sliced up. And the same thing for Katy ISD has got, was it 4 congressional representatives that sliced through Katy ISD? Cy-Fair ISD for the House districts, it was I think it was me and 4 others who had pieces of it, and now also a new district is being brought in. So I don't know if you all have seen this map Harris County. I was going to say they did finagle it to support all the incumbents, and I'm included in that, you know, and then Republicans going up to me like, oh, you should be happy because we drew you into a safe Democratic district. And I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't the point, you know, and I don't come to me like you were doing me a favor doing that. I happen, House District 135 was nestled in a group of competitive Republican districts that we had hoped to win seats from, right? Gina Kalani won in 132 in 2018. We thought we were going to have competitive races also in 138, where we ran Akila Basie, who was a fantastic candidate in 138. 126, we had Natalie Hurtado running in 136, and I thought that should have been a more competitive race. And then also, what was the other one? Oh, 130. No, that's right. Because 130 was Oliverson, and that was not competitive to the north. So anyway, none of these districts are going to be competitive this time around, because what they did was they literally took the one Democrat in the area and they just packed me with as many Democrats as they could. And it's not that they wanted to pump me full of Democrats, they wanted to offload their populations. So they would, and you can look at the map and see how they've taken bites out of the district if you were familiar with the old shape and then look at the new shape. And these areas that were predominantly conservative that I represented have been moved into the Republican areas around me, and then they offloaded their Democrats into 135. And so for those who I have represented, happily represented you, that everybody who basically north of West Road is not going to be in 135 anymore, unless you're basically in my neighborhood. Which is around Traders Village, so off of Jackrabbit and West Road. Oh, good. Here we go. Bringing up a map. Is this the new map? It is. This is the new map. So you can see House District 135. And so actually, while District 135 has been drawn to be actually more compact, and I'm at the upper limit of population. So we're allowed to be plus or minus 5%, and I'm at plus 4.7%. So they really did load me up. And if you look in the lower part where there's the whole bottom piece of that, there's what you could call a rectangle that sort of pokes out. And if you just drew that all the way across, that's pretty much the new part. It's very democratic. I went from being barely 50% plus a hair to 60-40. So if the 2018 election was run in this current configuration 135, Lupe Valdez would have won 57-43. So I'm going to be a continuing present thorn in the side of the worst conservative policies, and I will continue to speak out against those to the extent that I can. But I think the bottom line here for Harris County, if you look at this map, the bottom line is that they kept the representation numbers the way they were. So while it could easily have been drawn so that Democrats had more seats, a couple more seats, they did preserve all the incumbents. So people like Marianne Perez and Christina Morales there on the southeast side. They are that I-45 corridor going from downtown to the ship channel, basically. Those were dramatically undercounted. And so it was quite an exercise to keep those incumbents in shape. And you end up mangling some of these districts. And if you look at this map that we're looking at right now and have a look at District 148. So 148 used to be Jessica Farrar. It's now Penny Morales Shaw, who should be endorsed by this group if she's not already. Penny Morales Shaw is a serious to the bone progressive. And 148 has her district is going to be something like more than 70% new. So the dynamic that occurs here is the district that I run in, that I spend all my time serving in the streets, knocking on doors, talking to people, going to events, trying to help constituents with whatever I can help them with in any way that I can. Like, I'm very motivated to do that. And now I'm going to represent a whole bunch of people I've never met before, that never heard of me. And that's one thing for District 135. But if you were representing 148, the people that elected this representative, very, very few of them still live in the district that she represents. And to me, that's an inherent problem. If the purpose was to preserve the incumbency, that the only reason I can think of to do that is, if you've got a rep that does a good job for their community, they should stay and continue serving their community. Like, that's the only reason to preserve an incumbent, is if they're doing a good job of service. And then it should be the people doing that. So I know I'm kind of rambling on this, but that's sort of the big picture for redistricting, particularly in our area, for Harris County. Across the state, I think that the Republicans in general drew these districts to preserve their majority more than trying to expand their majority. So we were thinking that they were going to do one of two things: either try to increase their majority so that it wouldn't be possible for Democrats to break quorum, for example. If they had more than 100 seats, then it doesn't matter if all the Democrats walk out, they can still do their business and not have to worry about us at all. On the other hand, if they tried to do that, like they could have, their majorities would be so slim in some of these districts that they would be competitive very soon. And that's kind of what happened. One of the things that happened in my district, I believe in 2010, was they were trying to pick up seats, and they did have a supermajority in the House around them. Democrats started making gains, and I was part of that class that sorry if it's cutting out. I'm
You might want to try turning your video off, John.
getting a message saying that my internet connection is unstable. But I was the class that scared them. And if we want sensible policy, we have to show them that they're not winning elections with their craziness. And so it may be possible that some of these seats are going to be more competitive than they think. And I think what makes that possible is the dramatic undercount in the census. Because if you're starting with bad data, you're going to end up with a couple of errors. You're going to have some bad results. And I think we may have a few districts around the state that reflect that. I think the only district in Harris County that looks to me like it might be competitive is 133, where Jim Murphy is vacating the seat in 133. I think it's obviously drawn to be majority Republican, but it may not be as majority Republican as they think. It borders some areas that have strong Latino populations, and the whole thing is, having folks show up to vote. So that may be possible to pull off a surprise there. I don't know. I haven't managed that data, but I have a very good friend in our Harris County Democratic Party chair whose job it is to win elections, and his name is Otis Evagaro. And I have great faith and great confidence that he will be helping us organize, helping us with our messaging, helping us with a real plan to maybe try to flip some of these seats back. And in the meantime, and I'm going to finish with this, in the meantime, what we're doing is we're challenging these maps in court. So I don't remember if it's American Civil Liberties Union, Mexican American Legal Defense Fund has brought multiple lawsuits, and they are super experts at this stuff. They're the ones who won in the Supreme Court after the last redistricting session and caused Texas to have to redraw a district or two. So we're challenging the maps. We're going to do everything that we can to fight for fairer maps. The other thing is the reason that we broke quorum was to put pressure on the federal government to change the way that maps are drawn. And I don't know if they can do that for House seats, but certainly for congressional districts, they can have guidelines for that. So we definitely need to be pressing for that too, and we still are. And I don't know how long I'm supposed to talk or not talk, but I'm going to stop there. If there's time, I'm happy to take questions. You know, I hope that this has been informative and not just some, you know, over caffeinated engineer rambling too much.
Oh no, John, we love hearing you ramble. Don't worry about it. We do have a question from Chase West. Chase, if you'd like to unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
How's it going, everyone?
It's
So,
good.
John, I
Yes.
I have a question. What are your thoughts on this Foltz guy from Wisconsin who we paid all this money to do these maps? I mean, obviously, you know, he knows what he's doing, but is there anything there that could show, you know, to be not I don't know.
May have
What are
missed
your
part of the
thoughts on
question. So you're asking about the hired gun that the Republicans brought in from Wisconsin, who clearly was worth every penny they paid him, because they really,
Right.
they were able to take a massive population growth for people of color and actually reduce the number of congressional districts that serve people of color.
Right, and he didn't speak to any Democratic representatives, correct?
You know, I cannot.
Fair enough.
I
fair
guess
enough.
if you were a fan of the art, you know, the dude is a master, no question.
Yeah. Okay.
We have another question from Evelyn Chorush. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your last name right. Evelyn? Maybe she's.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah. It's Evelyn Chorish, but Chorish is as good as some people can get. So either way, it doesn't matter. I think we're missing a big opportunity, and this is what Bernie would call a radical idea. But I'd like to share a story with you from pre-COVID. And that story for me personally has been repeated over and over and over again. And that is when we would travel, my husband and I, if we were spending a lot of time waiting for the flight to take off, I would talk with people who were sitting around me in the airport. And I came across a couple who I would say they were in their 60s, late 60s maybe, just a little younger than us, I guess. And the wife was bragging because she had a video of herself that this was during the Republican primary, and she lived in Boston, but they went off to Maine or somewhere because there was a meeting of all the Republican candidates, and she attended that meeting, and she had herself on video asking Donald Trump a question. And the question she asked him is, can you beat Hillary Clinton? That was that's all she cared about. Can you beat? And he said, yes, of course. He says yes to anything he thinks would help him. And while she was talking to my husband, I was closer to her husband, and I decided to step out on a limb and share with him. I said, I think our regime change wars are just terrible. They hurt people who serve, they kill people, and he shocked me because he got a look on his face of great pain and distress. And he said, yes, these are terrible. And I think that we're missing the opportunity because we're letting the National Party, the DNC, dictate that subject, discussing the trillions of dollars that are wasted on for-profit regime change wars. After over 70 years, I've come to the conclusion the only purpose of those misguided lost wars is to fatten the MIC and to make money for the contractors, the banks, the corporate interests that profit from these wars. There's no justification. We say it's for democracy, that's a lie. We say it's national security, I believe it's a lie. And other people who I've met from all political spectrums, they all feel the same way. They're sick of them. They understand that working people in this country are losing the benefit of those tax dollars, and this money is being poured into the sea. And yet, we don't have any discussion from people. People are shut up because they're afraid to bring it up. And I myself sent an email to about 200 people at the JFK School of Government at Harvard when they withdrew Chelsea Manning's honorary degree. And I said I thought that was outrageous because Chelsea Manning was a courageous woman who informed us of wrongdoing done with our tax dollars in our name. I only heard back from one, and she said, national security. Don't you understand national security? And I sort of sent her back, replied, you know, I sort of joked at that because there are so many who are compromised by this national security state because their whole livings rely on it. They're part of the system, but it's a failed system and it's bankrupting this country.
Okay, ma'am, we're gonna ask you to just
Okay,
kind of
I'm
shorten
now
to
going to
the
get, thank
question.
you. Yes, I
ma'am.
think you get my
Thank you.
point. So my question is to the gentleman who was speaking earlier. The person who said that he thinks he's now in a 60-40 district.
The
Yes.
representative, yes.
Yeah, I'm John.
John, yes, John. I would like to know whether you think this should be covered at the local level, that should be in the agenda when people run for office, because Donald Trump, as much as he was a liar and a con man, he used that angst. And some of the people who support him do so because he says no more wars, we're going to end this and crap. So that's my question. Do you agree with that? Do you think we're missing an opportunity to reach out to people on stuff that's been verboten from discussion because the DNC is in on this gravy train that's involved in that? We know that from Hillary Clinton, all of those people.
Okay, ma'am, let the representative go ahead and answer your question. Go
Well, thank
ahead,
you, Latonya.
representative, thank you.
So yeah, that's it's an interesting question. I think that the question is more in line with our congressional representatives. So
Well, somewhat, yes.
I serve in state government in Austin, and I'm not judging. I do think nothing should be off the table in terms of what we discuss and what we advocate for, and we should be guided, in my opinion, no matter what level of government you're at, you should be guided by doing what's best for the people you represent, and then have those people, you know, you should be in partnership with them to advocate in communication and in partnership to carry their most serious concerns, and so there should be no topics that are off the table. You know, I'm an oil and gas professional, but I'm going after them for their, you know, property taxes. And also I do think that those major corporations should be a major part of the effort in shifting our energy production, energy demand structure. And they should do it out of their own self-interest to remain profitable, right? And
Yes.
and also preserve the planet.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a win-win situation. So, but I get hammered by both sides for having, you know, for expressing this sentiment. Sometimes, you know, I'm pretty solidly progressive. I rarely get hammered from the left, but I do agree. We should not shy away.
No, ma'am.
Latonya, may I
It's just one
please
question at a
follow up?
time. Okay, we got to give other people the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, so I
John, would
thank
you
you
like me to
very
follow
much.
up with what you said?
Please.
All right, just quickly. what you say about the various topics that you're discussing are directly linked to the resources to pay for those things you're talking about. And those resources are stolen from this country because there are being trillions and trillions of dollars going to that. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, well,
Fair
we're
point.
gonna move on to the next question that really gears to what we're talking about is gerrymandering. And Representative, someone asked a question before we go to Joe and Charles. This was from Alex Zapeta. He wants to know in voting rights. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense when we're voting. A lot of people don't really know what gerrymandering is all about. So he wants to know in voting rights, can we end gerrymandering?
So yes, a part of the I think it's the new piece, the Freedom to Vote Act, and this is actually the piece authored by Joe Manchin, has a provision for having districts drawn by nonpartisan commissions, programs. And it became, I'm an engineer, right? Systems engineer. And so I build mathematical models, like that's what I do for a living. And going through this, it looks like I'm stuck. Can you hear me? Going through
Yes,
this
we can hear you.
redistricting exercise, it became clear to me. Yeah, it became clear to me going through the exercise that this is a mathematical problem. So it's math, it's geometry, and it's like that. Open source computer programs so that people know the logic that's being used to draft the lines, and then done by nonpartisan commissions. And if this is a federal requirement, you can seriously, I don't know if it's possible to completely end gerrymandering, but this would take a massive bite out of seeing the kind of nonsense that we're looking at on the screen right now, and really for congressional districts. So the Freedom to Vote Act pertains to congressional districts, and the states are still going to be free to do this kind of nonsense that we're looking at right here. But that would be a huge step in the right direction. And I would like to see it done across the board for all types of districts in all types of areas.
Okay, thank you, Representative. I think we have next was Joe, am I correct? And then we have Charles. And I think we're going to probably cut it off after that. Please make your questions brief. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I think Charles was first, if you want.
Is that okay? Whichever. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess it's a technical thing, John. You're talking about all these lawsuits, challenging the districts. I mean, at a certain point, candidates do have to, throw their hat in the ring, and if you're dragging out the lawsuits until, January, February, March, and so forth in the primaries, I mean, how the heck can people even ascertain, I mean, how can you even commence the process of right? But I also want to say, in spirit, I do agree with Evelyn. I think, I mean, both on the wars, but also what we're seeing on the hyperinflationary, situation and gas prices and things like that. We are at a crucial moment where a lot of people are going to have to rethink everything, and the success will depend on Democrats and others figuring out the causality of this and intervening in a way that actually serves people's interests. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, John. And also, so the 38th district is still in limbo. I was asking about that, right? We don't know the contours of that yet. 38, the congressional district.
I believe, we have the lawsuits are going to challenge these districts, and I don't think that that's going to stop us from running this next election on the districts as drawn and passed. So these districts are current law now, and the next election is going to be run using these new lines, and we get to see how the new congressional 38 right here. Definitely, if you see that includes Jersey Village. I live right next to Jersey Village, so I'm in it. A lot of the former congressional District 7 is in there, and then what a mess that is. But this is going to be the map that we run on in this next election. And the challenge is going to be for subsequent elections. So I think, we're going to have a primary. I believe it's May. Is it May 1st? Primaries?
I think it's in March. The
Oh,
primary is in
March. It's March.
Yes, sir, be ready.
Let's see. I just. May 1st, uniform election date. So we're gonna run, the primary schedule is set, and we're gonna run it on the maps as passed. So the new maps that we've got that we're looking at here today, this is what the next set of elections is gonna run on. So the fact that a bunch of lawsuits have been engaged is not going to stop us from running on the maps as drawn. So the Texas State Senate Democrats brought a lawsuit to try and enjoin the maps altogether based on constitutional language, Texas state constitution language, which very specifically says these maps have to be drawn in a regular session, and they drew them in a special session. So they're violating the black letter law of the Constitution. And the Supreme Court, completely in the pocket of the governor, did not enjoin the maps, obviously. So we'll be running on these the next cycle. And then the other part about the inflationary cycle, while I agree, we need federal help, I think, on that front.
Okay, thank you, Representative. And we'll have all of those dates, the voting, when you look on our site and also Facebook. All right, I think our last question is going to come from Charles, and then we're going to move on to our next segment. Charles, you have the floor.
Thank you, Latanya. Representative Rosenthal, thank you very much for joining us. I realize this is going to be a very sensitive question, but here goes. So when y'all broke quorum, went to DC, stayed for a long time, very much appreciate your efforts to do so. Our Revolution Harris County put out a statement condemning the return in the middle of the night, from our perspective, of Representatives Coleman, I believe it was Hernandez and Wally, and wanted to get your opinion or comments on the reaction when y'all realized that they had returned.
Well, it's a little off topic. And let me put it this way. We knew that Garnett was coming back. I didn't know that Armando and Anna. So we knew that Chairman Coleman was going to return. He had very strong feelings about why that was important, why he thought that was important, as far as being present for the redistricting conversation, and trying to, work together. I think he was particularly concerned about Harris County. And I don't want to put words in his mouth. Just what I'm saying is, while these three that were the last three that it took to establish a quorum, there was a dozen in front of them, right? So I can't vilify those three to exclude the 12 who preceded them. So among our ranks, some folks wanted to stay out indefinitely, absolutely. Some folks believed that the advocacy, the effectiveness of this was to press Congress, and the extremeness of the act, the bold extremeness of the act should be enough to get their attention. And we're, literally interrupting the function of government in protest. It's hard to imagine that could have gone on for a full 2 years. The funding for it was quite an exercise, and I wasn't part of that, but there were folks who were chipping in to help us with expenses and stuff like that. That really made it possible. And really what we did was historic. So I'm not going to vilify, colleagues that I have to work with walking into this next thing, and you know, that each person's got their own perspective. I was disappointed that we were unable as a group of Democrats to coordinate our return in a little bit more effective, you know, and to come back as a group. I thought that would have been a more powerful statement. You know, maybe we could have gotten something out of it by negotiating a return, but the Republicans showed that there was no space for negotiation on anything. And that was part of what led us to the walkout in the first place. So I don't know if that's an answer for you. You know, I was disappointed in how it went down, but there are very few scenarios that I thought would have been empowering. And what I said at the time was, no matter how this thing ends, the way that it started and the dynamic that we created, we caused a wave that we're still seeing the effect of right now. They're debating new pieces of legislation in Congress, you know, and some of it stalls and it stops and starts, but they still talk about the quorum break and how we brought this issue onto their doorstep. And I still believe, you know, the question for our senators, our United States senators are, you know, what's more important to you, the filibuster or your representative system of democracy? And it to me, it literally comes down to that. So I guess it's a roundabout way of saying I think we accomplished what we originally set out to accomplish. And there's plenty of debate about how it ended and all that stuff. I think we did what we set out to do.
We appreciate
Oh, that was a little bit of an echo. Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal, Congressman Rosenthal, for being
Representative. If I was in Congress, I'd be getting paid for doing this.
Don't you
Thank
get
you all for having me.
$7,000 a year for doing this job?
I do get paid $7,200 a year, plus when we're in Austin, $150 a day in per diem to
Yeah,
cover
pay for lunch, right?
Meals and lodging. Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for being our guest speaker.
Pleasure.
You really shared a lot of information, and you're always welcome back on to our meetings. And thank you for doing what you're doing in the Texas Ledge as well. I also wanted to mention, I had a couple of comments in the chat regarding these maps. Just so you know, if you download our slide deck, which I put the link in the chat a few times, you can have access to these. And if you would like to see a recording of this meeting, we will also be posting it on our YouTube page. So also wanted to share that we also have the maps for the State Board of Education districts. And we also have the maps available for the new county court, the commissioner court precincts. So have fun. I know Chuck and I love looking at these maps, and we spent a whole afternoon probably discussing it. But if that's not your thing, that's not your thing, you know? So let's go ahead and move on to our next results. So if you may know, this past election cycle was mainly school board elections, and we endorsed 2 strong candidates for HISD. We wanted to share their results. We're proud to say that Elizabeth Santos did get the majority of the votes in her race, but because she did not reach the 50% threshold, her race will be going into a runoff. And Dr. Maria Benson, although she was a strong progressive candidate, sadly did not make it to the runoff. And this is another reason why it is important for us to get involved in local politics. If y'all take a look at these numbers, these are dramatically low for HISD. Turnout was abysmal. And normally that's expected for off-year elections, but this is also where it really matters. This just to show you that even spending a weekend block walking, phone banking, helping these candidates with their off can make such a big difference. And especially now in the runoff where our turnout is expected to be even lower. Any type of help that you can give to our candidates during the runoff will be extraordinarily helpful. There are, Elizabeth Santos is actually out block walking today, preparing for the runoffs. If you do want to get involved, please visit her website. We will also be making regular postings on our Facebook page on ways that you can get involved to help out with phone banks, block walks. But remember, change doesn't happen if we just sit around and wait for it to happen. We have to get up and we actually have to do it. And the best way to do that is to help progressives get elected to office. Now, I'm sorry, I don't have the runoff election date here. I do know it's in December. LaTanya, Chuck, Scott, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar when the exact runoff date is.
Just dropped it into the chat. It's on Harris Vote's website, December 11th, and early vote is November 29th through December 7th.
All right, so a great way, after you're done with the Thanksgiving dinner, you can just go ahead and convince your family to go vote. Perfect. Make a whole party out of it. So please, as I said, these runoffs are important. These are make it or break it. As Mr. Rosenthal said, in the Cy-Fair School District, where I'm a teacher, we had 3 changes to where we had far-right members now elected to the Cy-Fair HISD board. Although previously, I truly believe that board was very nonpartisan, very neutral. They focus on the kids. Now with these 3 new candidates, I'm worried. I'm gonna be straightforward. And this is where change starts. I guess I can't emphasize enough how important these local elections are, because these elections are where real change happens. So please help out Elizabeth Santos for winning the special election. And mind you, just because she had the most vote in the general election, that's not a guarantee that she will win her runoff. In fact, that's usually people think like, oh, she'll be fine. She doesn't need my vote. Wrong. She does. They all need your vote. So please go out, vote, help out, make calls on phone banks, block walk. Weather's been perfect. It's perfect time to block walk now. We don't get this weather that often here in Houston. Now is the time. So please get involved. If you want to know more, please visit our website, santosforhisd.com, where you can get involved as well as donate to the website. Any amount of help is always appreciated. Here we like to bring back our segment of our monthly representative report. And Charles, I believe that you will be taking over this segment.
We are nominating this time Christian Menifee, Harris County Attorney. He has done amazing things. He is the, I believe, youngest and first African-American county attorney for Harris County. He is a groundbreaking elected in that regard. And he has already gotten started with a couple of great actions that are made to support Harris County and Texas in general. I've dropped a couple of links. Am I going to be putting those up, Jeremy?
Yeah, if it's not too much of an issue.
Nope. Yep. Just making sure. Share my screen. Yes, briefly. And where did we go? Right there. So Menifee has taken several impressive actions. He has gotten involved with the mask mandates. He has gotten involved with the opioid cases against Johnson & Johnson and filed a lawsuit on behalf of Harris County against the TCEQ, basically holding a lot of folks' feet to the fire for doing bad jobs, saying that the TCEQ is not protecting Texas the way they ought to, saying that Johnson & Johnson is responsible for this opioid epidemic, and that the mask mandate being forbidden by the governor is just ridiculous, and that it is the only way that we are going to get out of this pandemic is if we get people observing proper hygiene protocols, which is just a ridiculous thing to have to say. So we're seeing a lot of great things. We are looking forward to seeing a lot of great results, but he is making the best moves to protect us in Harris County and fight for Texas. Menifee is awesome. Then, of course, unfortunately, we have our boo for John Scott, the acting Secretary of State. So Once again, we have a Secretary of State who is acting because the Secretary of State is supposed to be confirmed by the Texas legislature, and his appointment was made days after the Texas legislature closed for the third session. After the end of the third session, this appointment was made, and Mr. John Scott's acting Secretary of State claim to fame is that he was Trump's lawyer trying to challenge the election results. So this is the biggest thing that he's done that we're aware of in his history. And frankly, I'm expecting him to continue to be a bum. He claims to support election integrity. It will be very interesting to watch what he does in the coming months, depending on how long he lasts. He could be another mooch and bail out in a month or something. But anyways, he is the guy that we have given the F for to this time. We have given the F to for this session of the monthly meeting. So be looking for not great things to grow from John Scott. We are very happy to see things growing productively from Christian Menifee.
All right, this is where I come in. And again, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who came to spend your Saturday with us. We do apologize about going over. We try to keep you here till 3 a lot of times. We go over to 3:30. So again, we appreciate you staying with us. Well, right now, what everybody's been waiting for, especially me, is the candidate corner. Texas victories. And we've been 5 years doing this. And I think our revolution is doing really well. We got 70 plus wins. Okay. And that's a great thing. That means that we have more progressives that's running for office. And that's what we really need to make a change. And I want to talk briefly about my experiences working as a presiding judge for this joint and general election, for school board trustee, constitutional amendments. My total voting for the 2-week count was 71, and that's counting each day. Some day I had 2 people come to vote. Sometimes it was 3 or maybe 4 or 5. That really says a lot, that speaks volumes about how important it is for us to vote. It's not, and we do the VDVRs, we get out there, we register people to vote, but we still can't, depend on if these people are coming out, So what we need to do is really examine, what are we doing? How are we going to make that change? I think that's something that the young lady was saying before we started. Well, it starts with that within us, we have to have it within our minds that we want to make that change. And then we spread it to others and try to explain to them how important it is. We mentioned the other elections. There is going to be more. So we just got to get involved. So what's going to happen is these candidates that's about to speak, you got to be more personable with people. You got to give people a reason to come out and vote for you. Talk more, have more community meetings, make yourself accessible, and that's one thing that I could say, Jon Rosenthal, Representative Penny Shaw, that I've really seen out the two of them, So this is your time to shine. I want these candidates to come up and speak your heart and tell us what we could do to help you and to connect with you. So if I have any candidates, you got 1 minute to speak and you could just raise your hand. Now, the first hand I saw was Chase West. So let's go ahead and give you that moment.
All right, how are you guys doing today? Okay, so My name is Chase West. I'm running for Texas State Representative in HD 132, which is Katy, Cypress area in Harris County. I'm a father, an artist, a small business owner. I own a small recording studio, and I grew up in the Katy area. And like many of my constituents, I stayed in Katy because this is my home. When elected, I will be the first representative for this area that was actually born in Harris County, and only the second to have be born in Texas in over 30 years. It's very clear that we need new representation from someone who has always put this community first and will continue to do so. I saw the need and I'm answering the call. I look forward to bringing common sense and integrity back to the Texas legislature. You can reach us at www.westfortx.com, so westfortexas.com. And, I appreciate you guys' time.
Well, thank you, Mr. West. Congratulations on your run. And thank you for sharing. My next person I have is a great guy. I've been knowing you for quite a while. My county treasurer, Dylan Osborne. Let's give you that minute. Tell us what you got for us today.
Thank you, Latanya. It's always good to see you as well. Well, like she said, my name is Dylan Osborne. I'm the Harris County treasurer. And I have to say, I was excited to see that graphic that was just up with all those faces on it. I remember when there wasn't so many candidates and elected officials coming by our revolution. So it's been really great to see this chapter grow. It's gotten to the point where this is an important endorsement, right? Like this group means something, and it's glad to see that you're getting that respect from the other candidates and elected officials. You certainly deserve it. For those of you who don't know me, I see a lot of new faces at these meetings now. My name is Dylan Osborne, and I've been around for our revolution for a while. I was a Bernie delegate back in the last two elections. I was actually once I got elected, I was fortunate to be a national delegate for Bernie in the last election. I've tried to be a progressive treasurer. It's a mainly bureaucratic position, but I've tried to do some cool things like integrating more minority-owned banks into our business. I've tried to, I started an internship program with the hobby school at University of Houston. I'm very proud of that. And I've tried to just make this office, I've tried to give you your money's worth. I've tried to make this office more valuable and more active at the county. It's had about 2 decades of Republicans not really doing much in that office. So, I refuse to just sit around and collect a paycheck. I'm going to go out there and do what I can to make our county a little bit better. And anything you guys need, always feel free to reach out to me. Our revolution always has a friend in me. So it's good to see everybody. Y'all have a great day. And don't forget about these runoffs for the school board. That is so important. We can't let the right wingers take over our school board. So y'all have a good Saturday, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, that was great. You just touched my heart. Come and vote December. Okay, the next person I have is Neil. And can you help me pronounce your last name, Mr. Neil?
Aquino.
I was going to say that.
Hi, okay.
Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you, ma'am. My name's Neil Aquino. I'm a co-organizer of the John Cornyn Houston office protest every Tuesday, 11:30 to 1, 5300 Memorial Drive. Next week will be week 248, and we are going to begin endorsing supporting candidates. We're going to be sending a 2 or 3 question questionnaire to candidates about their basic support of democracy. We believe that elections matter, courts matter, but in the end, these fights about climate change and democracy are headed for the streets as well. And we need candidates who have the imagination and the resolve to stand up for that. So the John Cornyn Houston office protest every Tuesday, 11:30 to 1, 5300 Memorial Drive. Next week, 248, and we're going to be increasing our advocacy of democracy and holding the Democrats that we support accountable for making tough calls about democracy as these situations escalate. I appreciate the time.
Okay, Neil, so you're not running for something, but you have an organization and a movement. Okay, so make sure you put that in our chat so that we can connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am.
All right, so next we have Judge Jim Kovac. Tell us what you got going on.
Hi, Latanya. Hi, everybody at our Revolution. Thanks for letting me speak today. So I'm your judge of Harris County Civil Court at Law Number 2, and there's 4 county civil courts. What our courts do is we handle cases that are original jurisdiction. It used to be 100,000, just went up to 250,000. So we do a lot of car accidents and collection cases. But what's really important is we are the de novo appeals court for every eviction. So every single eviction starts in a justice of the peace court. There's 16 throughout Harris County. If you appeal, which you can, a tenant can appeal on a pauper's affidavit and come up to our court and they get a new trial. It starts brand new. I don't know anything that happened down in the JP court. Democrats have done a really good job in this regard, and this is a message I think we need to get out and tout, is, you know, the federal government, President Biden sent us, the state of Texas, $1.3 billion. That money went to rental assistance. Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo and Mayor Turner put up another $300 million. That provided money so that if anybody had filed this under the CDC moratorium to stop their eviction, they could apply for these funds. Not only did people get the funds, the landlords got paid, the tenants had their rent paid for them, got to stay in their home, and the Texas Eviction Deferral Program allowed me to seal the court's record and to instruct the JP court to seal their record so that there's nothing on their credit report. I estimate, because I didn't keep track of every single case, but my eviction cases started falling off and I started asking the landlords, well, how much did you get? I guarantee you that in my court, I estimated over $2 million was paid. And that was direct relief. It's our taxpayer money being put to a good use by Democratic progressive programs. And I think that's something I'm really proud to say that I'm a progressive Democrat. And that's the kind of work we do. We help people stay in their house and find assistance. I also refer them to Houston Volunteer Lawyers or Lone Star Legal Aid because they helped walk people through the process so that they get their application filled out correctly. So that's me. I'm Judge Jim F. Kovac. I'll be running for re-election in 2022.
All right. Thank you so much, Judge. We appreciate all that you do. Next, I have Michelle Palmer. Thank you so much for coming today. Tell us what you got.
Hi, LaTanya. It's good to see you and everyone else. So I was the OR endorsed candidate last year in the State Board of Education District 6 race and came within 3% of beating the Republican in a very Republican area, which scared them a little bit. So we were talking about redistricting. The new State Board of Education District 6 boundaries are very different than the old ones. I now have half of Montgomery County that I have to run in, making it much more difficult to win. But we have taken it as a challenge. And so we are going to be going to Montgomery County on weekends to register voters and that have given up. They figure their vote doesn't count in Montgomery County because they're Democrats in a very Republican area. And we need, if we're going to take this state, we need Democrats in those Republican areas to go vote, to not give up. Just like I did in Harris County and the old SBOE 6, I am going to explain to everyone why the State Board of Education, which nobody's ever heard of, is so important. Because I know that most of the people on this call now do understand why it's so important. But I would definitely appreciate your support, especially if anybody's willing to drive to Montgomery County with us to register voters and try and get them to actually go out and vote in the primary and in the general election, especially. Thanks again for continuing to have these meetings and continuing to do this important work.
Well, I'm with you at heart, Michelle. I'll be with you. Good luck to you in Montgomery County. You can do it. All right. Next, we have Ms. Selena Alanis, and you are running for something. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Selena Alanis. Thank you for having me this afternoon, Our Revolution. I'm running for Harris County Criminal Court Law number 6. I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley. I've been practicing law here in Harris County for the past 12 years. I practice criminal defense along with immigration. I practice immigration all around the United States. I represent many unaccompanied minors from the border, along with many individuals who fear and persecution returning to their native of California, of New Mexico, Criminal Court 6. There's far too many people coming from criminal court. I want to fix that, and I'm looking forward to earning your support at Our Revolution as I run for Harris County Criminal Court 6. Again, my name is Selena Alanis, and thank you so much for having this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Next is Judge Leah Shapiro. You have the floor.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leah Shapiro, and I am the judge in the 315th Juvenile District Court. So we handle CPS matters as well as delinquency matters. So when a kid is charged with a criminal offense, we have made some amazing progress there since I was sworn in 2019. I hope to have your support in the re-election. I do have a primary opponent, so please remember my name, Leah Shapiro. One of the bigger things that we've done since we started is we ended indiscriminate shackling in the 315th District Court. There's a practice in Harris County that children, regardless of age or offense, who are in the detention center would be brought out in all fours. So their hands would be in handcuffs, their ankles would be in shackles, and then they would be connected by a chain. I stopped that practice in my court. It took a lot of meetings, but it is worth it because every person deserves to appear in our courtrooms with dignity and respect. And so things like that, those changes matter. They matter to the kids who we serve and the families that we serve. So I hope to do it again. Leah Shapiro for the 315th District Court, Leah Shapiro for the 315th District Court. And I'll put my information in the chat. Thank you all so much for letting me speak.
Please do make sure everyone put your information in the chat so that if anyone wants to help you, support you, block walk with you, we're able to do so. Okay, next I have Miss Andrea Beal. And was that correct? Did I say that right?
It's Andrea Bell, but thanks so much. It's been mispronounced my whole life, so I'm used to
I'm
it.
so sorry.
No, it's
Andrea
fine.
Beal.
So I'm Andrea Bell, and I'm running for the 185th District Court, which is a felony court here in Harris County. I have a background in community development and worked with at-risk youth and young adults with nonprofits in the 2nd and 3rd wards before going to law school. I am an adjunct law professor at South Texas College of Law, and I'm a child homicide prosecutor. I'm running for the 185th to help with the case backlog because I grew up with one parent who was in prison and the other parent who had addiction issues. And so I understand the difference between a lot of the people that we see in the criminal justice system who are getting lost in the system because they don't get their day in court. And I want to make sure that that happens, that they get their day in court. I'm also running because I want to create a youthful offenders court in that court, which would be a specialty program for people between the ages of 17 and 25 who are going through the adult probation process, because we can't treat a 17-year-old like we treat a 45-year-old. And we need to get community buy-in and not just use the government programs that already exist. Because community buy-in is what got me through my situation growing up. And I want to make sure that everybody has access to that. So again, my name is Andrea Bell and I'm running for the 185th District Court. I put my information in the chat, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Definitely leave your information in the chat. I'm sure that we've all been there, and it seems like you're doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Please share. Okay, next we have Jarrell Rogers. You have the floor.
Thank for Harris County Criminal Court at law number 14. And you think about everything that we hear and we talk about being progressive, you know what? It starts in the community. It starts by having a community presence. It starts by knowing what the community wants, what the community needs. And the only way you can do that is if you have an actual community presence. I'm a former teacher. I taught here in Houston at Sharpstown Middle School for a number of years. I worked with a number of students. I had students from the La Primera gangs, from the Cholos, and I had to deal with the issues that they had, because when you show up to school, you don't leave all those issues behind, right? And so now those former students I have, now they're vote engaged. They have concerns and they bring that with them. And you need a presence that understands what people go through. The other big thing that I do is I'm a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And the reason I got involved with that, because I know firsthand the importance of having a mentor, having someone that you can look to be an example. And so I want to combine my legal experience. I've been practicing for 8 years. I handle murders and capital murders. I want to combine that legal experience with my actual community experience, because that is how you actually make change happen, because you have to know about it. You have to be about it. You just can't talk about it. So Jarrell Rogers for Harris County Criminal Court at law number 14. Thank you so much.
I like that. Thank you very much. Confidence. And make sure you put your information in the chat. Next, we have Judge Andrew White. You have the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, our revolution, Harris County. This is Judge Andrew A. Wright. I'm the judge of Harris County Criminal Court at Law Number 7. Thank you for all that you do for us and making sure that we're moving our civilization in our county forward in a progressive manner. I have helped my colleagues and myself have done that in the criminal misdemeanor courts. We've worked towards bail reform, trying to make it to where the presumption is everybody gets a PR bond, or as now we call them GOB bonds. We're working towards making the system more fair, more just, and more progressive, and not the antiquated system that we've all known that's been used to oppress everyone. I'm a 14-year board certified in criminal law attorney. I was elected in 2018, took the bench in 2019. I'm going to be here if anybody needs any questions, comments, or concerns. My information is in the chat, and look forward to earning your support. Thank y'all for everything you do for us.
Oh, thank you so much. And we appreciate you coming here and hanging out with us all this time. And thanks again. All right. I would like to present Miss Maria Benson. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi, I'm not running for anything, but I just want to say thank you.
I know that.
I just appreciate you all for supporting me with my little 14%. But you know what? There was a lot of discussion in my area about very progressive issues that the incumbent wasn't talking about before I was running. There is a lot of conversation going on in my district that I split the vote. So I'm going to do what I can to ensure that we don't get somebody who doesn't believe in masks and somebody who believes that CRT is taught in schools to be on our board. So I just wanted to get on and just say thank you to all of you for the support. And I'm so engaged now. So with so much in politics, it seems it's kind of overwhelming, but I'm learning so much, and part of it is the experience and support that I've received from our revolution. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, it was our pleasure. I want to give it up to you for all the hard work and dedication you did. I watched you the entire time. You didn't know. And we're all so proud of you. We appreciate you. Don't give up and keep uplifting people the way that you do. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, last but not least, I have my own board member, Scott. Tell us what you got going on. Don't keep it a secret anymore.
Hi, everybody. So I am running for Brazoria Drainage District 4, place 3.
Right. Yeah.
Drainage District Commissioner position. So I'm not going to give you my stump speech this time. I'm running on experience. I'm running to make some changes that we really need in the drainage district. But since I'm not even in Harris County, I just want to address something that came up earlier in the meeting. You know, Brazoria County is a red county, very red county. We don't get above 40% in a county race typically. You know, so if you live in a red area, what you do is you find the Democrats, because 35–40% of the people is still a lot of people. There are still people out there to connect with. There are clubs that you can join. There are people that you can work with on isolated issues. You know, maybe you can put some pressure on those Republicans, shed some media light on things when they get out of hand, because that happens down here on a regular basis. We got Confederate flags and Trump signs that are never going to come down. And yeah, people are scared. There is no question people are scared down here. So it is a very different dynamic, very sensitive to that. But last year in 2020, we won our first county office, which was on this drainage district board. It is only a 3-person board. So I ran last time as well. I got 49.77% of the vote. We're going to get that 0.23% of the vote extra this time, and then we will control that board, and then we'll be on to another board. You know, that's how you do it. And when Brazoria flips, Texas is going to flip, y'all. Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. And I would like to thank all of the candidates that came up and said something. You know, you're taking time out of your life, out of your family, to actually do something that not only help your city, but help the state of Texas, you know. So we thank you very much, and we're going to support you as much as we possibly can. All right, guys, well, what I'm gonna do is turn it back to Jeremy, if that's okay, because we were going to go over if anyone has any events that's coming up. We have one person share something with us, but if there's anything that anyone else wanted to share, an event, anything like that, you're welcome to speak out on it. If not, we could go to our next segment. All right, seems like we don't. So Jeremy, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, LaTanya. Let me just bring up the slide deck. Ooh, a little too far. All right, so just so everyone knows, we're now at the final stretch of our meeting. Please sign up for our December meeting. We'll be having it December 4th. We're actually having a very special meeting next month. We're not going to have our traditional format of having a guest speaker. We're actually going to make it a lot more informal. So you can kind of think of it as our holiday meeting. So if you have any topics of discussion, bring them in. It's going to be a meeting-long members minute. We're going to call it the members meeting, all right? But please sign up using the QR code. Also put a link in the chat in a moment. Please sign up through our Mobilize link. That way is the best way for us to let you know if there are any updates for the meeting as well. If you are like our very helpful not only candidate, but also co-steering committee helper and state representative Scott and live in Brazoria County, or possibly the neighboring county of Fort Bend, we have a very active Our Revolution chapter as well. The Brazoria Fort Bend meetings are always 1 week after our meeting. So they'll be meeting next Saturday on November 13th. You can find out more information by using the QR code or the link in the chat to sign up for their meeting as well. Again, please sign up through the Mobilize link. It really makes it easier for us to organize our members and who came and participated in these meetings. Please also follow us on all of our social media pages. We have a Facebook page. We will be posting regular updates on our Facebook page regarding Elizabeth Santos' election. So anything that we find out about how you can help get her elected for the runoff election, you can check it out on Facebook. We also have a YouTube page where we post all of our meetings on there. So if there's anything on this meeting that you want to go back and check, please just check a little later today. This meeting will be uploaded later this afternoon. And we are also on TikTok. Mind you, not too active, but we are on TikTok. So, another thing I wanted to say, if there's anyone out there who would like to have some experience in working with us and running our social media pages, we will be glad to have you on board. We want to grow, but we're a little limited on manpower when it comes to social media right now. So that's a great way for you to get involved as well. We want to thank everyone for coming to our meeting. It was a pleasure. We loved all the discussion. Thank you all of the candidates who are running and for spending your time trying to make Texas and Harris County a better place. I want to thank my fellow steering committee members, LaTanya, Chuck, and also Scott, for all the help that y'all do, and not only keeping this chapter alive, but also pushing for progressive policies as well. Other than that, we are done for today. Chuck, I know normally you're the one who likes to do the whole screenshot picture of everyone. Do you mind taking care of that again?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Everyone,
we'll ask you, turn on your cameras, please. We'll have a big picture that we'll share on the Facebook page.
This is the prize for staying till the end, y'all.
Yeah, right? Don't forget to, clean your hair, All right, everyone take your picture.
all right, coming up in 3 and 2 and 1. Got it. Thank you so much, y'all.
All right, y'all have a great afternoon. Thank y'all for joining.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
See you next month.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Chase, for coming.
Oh, we kept it under 2 hours. Yay.
Yeah, okay. I don't think we'll ever hit that hour button.
That's why I tell people 2 hours now. I don't go with the hour 30 minutes no more because we always go over.
Well, it was our friend who started it off for us.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
we
always a lot to
do.
talk about.
Yes, stay ready, my friend.
All
Good
right.
day, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Enjoy your Saturday.